city never sleeps, and neither do the dreamers who build its pulse. From every corner of the globe they come. Visionaries, creators, leaders, each carrying a spark ready to ignite the world. This is not an event. It's a revolution of rhythm and reason. A symphony of minds. A movement of momentum. Sifu Rafael, Lancelot, Jose Escobar. Together they set the stage for brilliance. This is the NYC Experience. Mastermind, light up the city. They coming from the east, coming from the west. Knowledge on deck, put the truth to the test. Leaders in motion, hearts in sync, dropping wisdom so deep it'll make you think. They bring stories, sweat and flame, different faces, one shared name. Elevation, that's the sound. NYC Experience Mastermind, where purpose is found.
Good morning, and welcome to New York City Experience. If you guys don't mind, let me start with a question. Have you ever been doing everything you thought you were supposed to do, showing up, putting in the work, making the calls, building the relationships, and still wondering, when is this going to happen for me? That's a question for you, gentlemen. That's a question for everybody. Go ahead.
I'll start it off by saying that got to have faith. I don't. If I put the work in and I don't get the immediate result, I continue to put the work in, knowing that it will come to fruition. It might not come when I want it to, but it will come. And it's about patience. And that's one of the things I talk a great deal about is patience. And I learned at a young age that you have to be patient, and it will happen when it's supposed to happen. And as an actor, they say all the time, you will get what is yours. What is meant for you, you'll get. When you go in there, you don't go in there trying to get the job. You go in there trying to be the best that you could be based off of the work that you put in. And if you don't get the job, it's not because you weren't prepared. It was because you weren't right for that position. And so they will remember you because you were prepared. So it's about patience, and it's about continuing to do the work consistently day in and day out, understanding that your time is coming. And that's how I operate. I don't rush it.
I love it. And as an actor, you've probably been to so many different auditions and you didn't get it, but you
Right.
didn't quit, right?
Right. That, that took time. Now we could talk about that because that took time to really, that concept was hard for me to swallow because coming from being an athlete, when it was always, who's the strongest, who's the fastest, you're chosen, to being in a situation where it's not about how good you are. It's not about if you're right for it's about if you're right for the role. If you look the part, if you're tall enough, if you're the right color, whatever the case may be. And that is a ego killer when you are used to being at a certain level and being, in terms of athleticism, and then you have to go into a situation where it has nothing to do with whether you're the best, but whether you're right for the role. So that was very hard. But once you get and understand the psyche behind it, it's all about faith. It's all about putting the work in and understanding that yours is yours. And you will get yours if you continue to put the work in and have faith and be patient. That's the word, patience and faith.
That's it. I love that. Thank you for sharing that because I can only imagine you work so hard, you practice and so forth, and you show up and they're like, nope, next, or we'll let you know.
Yeah.
Right? Jose, what are your thoughts on all this?
I love what you said, Lancelot. Big fan of both of you gentlemen. Got to spend a few days with you in Virginia Beach I guess I just got back home yesterday, so over the weekend, that event, going to an event like that requires a level of faith, right? Because you have no idea whether there is going to be a new connection or something you're going to walk away with or ROI and all the things that people look for in events. You don't know. You just go on faith, right? And it's now typically things do come if you're proactive and you show up. And I know I build deeper relationships with people I already know. And I also build some new relationships, which is what we're all after as well. So overall, I'd say I thought it was a great time, and faith in the process is a great topic for this morning. And I'll tell you why. My overarching thought here on this whole thing is too many of us can be committed to something, and I include myself when I speak about things like this. We can be committed to something when the evidence is there. Right? When we know that, it's clear, right? Like, for example, the sales are coming in. Okay, things are happening. Opportunities are continuing to show up. People are clapping and cheering you on, and momentum is an obvious thing. The real test is whether we still believe when there is no proof, right? Can we still hang on to hope? Can we still hang on to the possibility? Can we still stay excited when the evidence isn't there? Right? Faith is required most aggressively when the evidence is actually missing. So faith is required in the process of anything you're trying to achieve. Finding a spouse, improving a particular relationship you might have. It could be getting the next client, whether a business takes off. So don't confuse, if you're watching this live or catching a replay, don't confuse lack of evidence with lack of progress. If you're putting in the work and you're showing up and you're doing your part, inevitably what you're looking for will come in its due time. And God, folks, is always on time.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, love
Mic
that
drop.
one.
That's right.
One of the gentlemen that I got to connect with a little bit more, beyond a hero, if you will, and this is Aubrey McDade Jr.
Oh, man.
And when you consider the faith that he had when he ran in to save 3 of his fellow Marines, he didn't think about the bullets because they were shooting at him. He had a mission. The mission was to save these 3 young men, and nothing else was top of mind except save my brothers. And he didn't do it once. He didn't do it twice. He did it 3 times. And can you believe that he did not sustain an injury during that process? That he was able to carry not 1, but 2, but 3 people to safety after they were injured. And when you think about the faith that he had, it was literally blind faith. He could have gotten killed in the process, but that didn't stop him. And the question that I have for anybody out there is, what kind of faith are you walking around with? That you will do something and not necessarily know what the outcome will be until it's over, until it actually comes to fruition. Because the fruition that happened there is that he saved 3 people, 3 human beings that went to be with their families, to see another day, to impact the world. So, and that connection would never have happened had I said no to the opportunity of going to Virginia Beach and hanging out with Jose, hanging out with Lancelot, hanging out with Tio, hanging out with so many incredible human beings. And like Jose said, not only enforcing the relationships we already have, but creating new ones like the one I just mentioned.
Just to expound on what you're saying about faith, it wasn't blind faith, I don't think. And I know, just based off my little knowledge of the military, there's a lot of preparation involved. So it's like when we blind faith and patience, it's based off a work ethic. It's based off of like Aubrey, I'm sure, went and had to take many hours of preparation in terms of how to be in a situation like that, how not to respond to the bullets flying over you, how to carry someone out, not once, not twice, but 3 different times. So he was working on faith, but he was also working on work ethic. He was also working on being trained properly, and then having the courage to go through those type of situations. It's faith and courage, because you're talking about uh, 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 just reckless abandonment, as opposed to not even considering your life, but going on what you learned. You know what I'm saying? And getting in there and saving not one, not two, but 3 different people. But it comes from, again, with faith, preparation. You can't
No
have
doubt.
faith without preparation. You can have faith all you want, but if you're not prepared when the time comes, then what was all that faith for? You know what I'm saying? So that's been very important to speak on that as well.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. And I didn't mean blind faith in a negative way. I meant not knowing the outcome is going to be. That's what I meant by blind faith,
Oh, no, no, no! I
right?
didn't. I didn't mean you. I was
Mm.
talking in terms of somebody
You
that's
said that.
listening. Somebody that's listening to us, because I know you know about preparation. But if somebody's listening who thinks that you could just have faith without preparation, no,
Mm,
no. It both of them go hand in hand.
Well, I've got to
mhm.
say, I enjoyed Aubrey as well. I got to meet him and spend some time with him,
Same here.
particularly on the last day, because you try to make your rounds, you try to meet everybody, and I'm sure there's some people that were in the room that I didn't get to spend the time I wanted to spend with. I already know maybe 2 or 3 names in my mind where I was like, oh, I wanted to spend more time with this person, and for whatever reason, just didn't happen. Right? We do our best, and especially when I'm there with my whole family, and I gotta divide my time up properly, but I enjoyed Aubrey. I did get to spend time with Aubrey, and he was phenomenal. Great guy, good energy, good heart. Has big goals, lofty dreams, and he's after some cool stuff. And just excited for him. And much respect. So shout out to Aubrey if he's watching or catching the replay.
Yeah.
You're an
Aubrey.
inspiration, and God bless you for all the amazing work that you've done in your military experience. But going back to the faith piece, and I love this topic because for me, I think we've all heard the saying, the biblical saying of walk by faith and not by sight, right? So there is always a lag. There's going to be a lag between the becoming process and the receiving, right? Because as you're becoming, there's usually like delays of the receiving end of it, right? Like for example, before I had my business that I have today, Connected Leaders Academy and the Entrepreneur's Bookshelf, I was in the lab for at least a decade doing a lot of stuff that people weren't noticing, they weren't seeing. And that lag, there had to be faith there for me to see it through.
Mm.
Because I knew one day I'd have a business, one day things would take off. But again, it's like that whole meme. I don't know if you've seen a meme where a guy is digging for gold underground like this. And then on the one side, he's like this close to the gold, and he gave up because he lost faith in the process. Or had he just kept digging, he would have found what he was looking for. And that's the challenge. If you just keep digging, you keep searching, you keep the hammer down in the process, then what you're looking for will come. So just know that there is always a delay between who you're becoming and what is being reflected back to you in terms of the results that you're looking for. This is the journey, right? This is the journey. Know that faith is required. If you're expecting the microwave society piece where things just show up really quickly, it may happen sometimes, but in most cases, it's a crock pot and it takes time. And don't lose faith, because as they say, hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Absolutely. I gotta say, and a lot of people, it's easy for them to believe in faith when they're winning. It's easy to trust the process when the money's coming in. and the opportunities are there, and everything seems to be working. But what about when nothing is happening? Or worse, what about when it looks like you're moving backwards constantly? That's when most people start
Damn the hell out.
questioning the process. They change direction. Like you said, Jose, they're digging for the gold and they stop 3 inches away from it. They stop showing up. They abandon something that might have been so much closer than they ever imagined and stop working on what they realized. So today, Lancelot, Jose, and I, we're going to take you to a place that faith is in the process. We're going to take you to Atlanta. And when you consider coming to Atlanta, you have to have faith that it's going to be an incredible event. I have faith it's going to be an incredible event. But you have to have faith if you've never been to it that it's going to be an incredible event. When you consider showing up to a place, the other thing we always talk about, showing up is half the work. You actually have to work when you're there. Like Jose was working even though he had his family there. Lancelot was working even though he just showed up. Showing up was not part of it. Doing the work, talking to people, negotiating who you spend the most amount of time with. And sometimes going, man, I didn't get enough time. Like Jose said, I didn't get enough time to spend with Aubrey, but man, the little bit of time was worth it. And trusting that you will get the opportunity again and again, but you have to show up. I think that's having faith in the process.
Absolutely. If people are worried about faith in being in Atlanta, then you're worried about the wrong thing. Because I'm guaranteeing you that if you go there with the open mind of connecting and then doing the work, there's no way you can't come out of there with everything you went in there with. Because when you do the work, I mean, for the what we just left on Saturday and
Mm,
Friday and Saturday for us, uh, it was just amazing in that when you spend the time to really connect with people for real, then you can't help but get everything you want out of it. And then things happen based off the fact that you've created a real relationship. You know,
mm,
um, I had to get rid of the fact that, oh, I needed to only spend a certain amount of time with each person because it just wasn't happening like that. Once we got engulfed in conversations, 30 minutes later, I couldn't just cut it off and say, well, I had enough time. Now speed dating, I go to the next person. Although it was in my head, but this weekend was about establishing existing relationships and making those even deeper, but also meeting new people. And it might not happen right now, but you have established something real and you'll be able to call this person and somehow you will figure out how we both can help one another out based off of the incredible connection that was made on last weekend. So in Atlanta, you can't help but come out of it on top if you do the work. So it's not even about faith at this point. It's about just getting there and being a part of something bigger than yourself. And that is connecting in a real way with some really special people that are going to
mm,
be there. I mean, just some real special dynamic people. And it's just a matter of just doing the work.
absolutely.
Well, we have some
And
awesome people chiming in here. Scott Schilling, Angeline, Daniela.
Oh, I
Daniela,
understand.
shout out to you and Emilio for putting on an amazing event. I had a great
Yes.
conversation with a number of people there and got a lot of value. As a matter of fact, there was a guy named, I think, James Bryant.
Morning,
Really
Angela.
strong guy. Had a good conversation with him day one on the beach. And I said, oh my gosh, like I could walk away right now go
That
back
calling. Yeah.
and felt like I got what I needed, right? Just from that one conversation on the beach with day one. And this is the kind of thing that happens when you get into the right rooms. Like, so Atlanta, we're doing the NYC Mastermind Experience in Georgia. It's going to be epic, right? You got to be there and you got to position yourself to win. So I'm going to drop a little golden nugget here that I think would be of value, that would be epic. I had a mentor of mine, shout out to Chris Charest, a while back, many years ago, who said this to me, and it still resonates to this day. If you're planting a seed, and it's relevant to our conversation today on faith, if you're planting a seed in the ground that you want to see grow, right? Can I tell you something? You should probably stop digging it up in the growing process. Okay? Imagine planting a seed on Monday, right? Today's Monday, today's Tuesday. Excuse me. Let's say we plant a seed on Monday, and Wednesday you dig it out to check on it, right? And then you put it back, and then you dig it up again on Friday, and wondering why it's not growing.
Growing. That's a great
So
analogy.
business owners,
Wow.
entrepreneurs, and I feel like you're resonating here, entrepreneurs are doing this all the time. They change their strategy, they change their offer, they change the audience, they change the pricing, the business model, the goal, whatever it is, right? And the crazy thing is that a lot of times your breakthrough, the next level, these things don't require another pivot. Sometimes
Requires faith.
things aren't necessarily failing. They just haven't finished growing yet.
Ooh,
So, guys, have more faith. Stop
faith.
digging at the seed and let it grow.
Yes. Have more faith and stop digging. That was beautiful. Nice.
But if you don't plant it, don't expect growth either.
Right.
That's
So
true.
how do you plant it, right? You have to get the right soil. You have to plant and make sure it gets enough light, it gets enough water. Do you know how many people I've seen plant things and they forget to water it? And they're like, oh man, I'm no good. No, it's not you're not good, is you didn't take the action necessary to make things happen. So if you want things to happen, what do you think you have to do? You have to first start by planting. That's step one. Step two is take care of that which you planted. Step three, be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. I've never seen a plant grow overnight, any plant. And whether you have a green thumb or not, there are plants that you can't kill. And guess what? Some people still kill them. They didn't take care of it. And taking care of it is pretty simple. There's some plants you don't have to water for 7 days. But people are so worried they go and water it every day. So sometimes you have to be patient and it will happen.
And since we're on this plant and tree analogy, uh, let me interject by saying sometimes, not sometimes, you need to appreciate the roots as they're growing. You can't see the roots, but that's the foundation. And you should appreciate the small things that are growing consistently every single day. And when you do the work on yourself, I know for myself, it's the little things that I see in myself every single day that make me happy. That and knowing that all the work that I do every single day is working. And it's little things, and it's how I respond as opposed to react to situations. How I don't allow triggers to trigger me anymore. These are the small things that you should notice because a lot of times, not a lot of times, when we go back to that tree analogy, when you plant the seed, there's a lot of growth that's happening underneath the soil that we never see. We only see the plant or the tree when it pops out of the soil and oh, there it is. But we don't have any understanding of all the work and growth that's been happening underneath the soil. So we need to appreciate the small growth that's happening every single day. And we need to step back and recognize that. Because, a lot of times, few people I talked to this weekend, not naming names, but were thinking and I guess worried about the end result. But we're not really taking ownership of a lot of the progress that was happening in terms of just them as people and them having conversation and just the small things that go unnoticed. I think we should applaud and recognize as we are growing, and it would help you to stay faithful, understanding that you've been growing every single day in little increments. And that's the most important thing. Growth every day. I'm not who I was yesterday because I am who I'm becoming tomorrow because I've done the work today to grow. That's what I'm talking about.
Love
Ow!
it.
Let's take a look at this.
Jose Escobar here. We're at the NYC Mastermind Experience in Tampa, Florida. And we just had so many high-level serial entrepreneurs from all over the country in one room for 3 days, and so many phenomenal, top-notch, world-class speakers that I'm still trying to gather my notes from everything that was said.
And when you talk about notes, one of the things that everyone said to me is that they took things away that they can actually take action on, and that's what separates us from any other mastermind that you would ever go to.
And I think also the thing that separates us was each speaker spoke from the heart. And a lot of them pivoted, including myself, on what they were going to speak about that day and based it off of what was given. And I think that was one of the most special things about the New York City Mastermind, is the authenticity of all the speakers.
We want to see you guys. NYC Mastermind Experience, Atlanta.
See you there.
Peace.
Join us in Atlanta because the breakthrough is waiting for you to become the person who's ready for it. Are you ready? Are you ready to impact your futures every day? And one of the things, and you talked about this, Lancelot, is the root system, right? If you were to dig out a tree that's been growing for many, many years, it doesn't let go that easily. It has a root system. And so many times people think, oh, just chop down the tree, it's over. Not always. Not always. Because you have to take out the trunk and the root system. So there's a lot of companies out there who develop this humongous machine just to take out the roots. And it's not as cheap as it is to remove the tree. The tree is cheaper to remove than the trunk. So think about it. Build your system. Every day, water your system. Every day. Don't dig it up. Just keep having that faith. Faith in the process that you're eventually going to have fruit from your endeavors. It's going to happen. So
It will
you do
happen.
have to use that faith.
And I like what Jose said, and that is, before he had Connected Leaders Academy, which is extremely fruitful. He put about, I don't remember exactly, maybe a decade or 2 decades of constant work in order to get to where he is today. So it's like an athlete. They see Michael Jordan and they don't understand the amount of time and years it took to be Michael Jordan. A better example would be Jalen Brunson, who I just have so much respect for. Because he's not the biggest, he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, he can't jump the highest, but he's just the best. So how does that happen? How does it happen that Jose has Connected Leaders Academy? It's because of the foundation and the work that was put in consistently 10, 11, 12 years ago. When you were doing something else, I was working. When you were working, I was working harder. That's Jalen Brunson. When you were playing and going to the clubs, he was running laps. He was shooting his basketball. He was figuring out the angles on the basketball court in order to to combat the fact that he's only 6'2". You see what I mean? So we need to understand that it's the work, and every successful person has put in that work. What you see now, you have no idea the amount of things that they've done and sacrificed in order to get to that point. And so I just want people to understand roots is a great analogy. Plant those seeds, like Jose said, stop digging it up every day and changing stay there, keep watering it, keep doing the work, have faith, and I guarantee you, your time is coming. Your time is coming.
Well said, Lancelot. As a matter of fact, there's a famous quote. I don't remember who said it, but
That's right, Daniel.
I think of who said. Anyway, the quote is, "Never allow a quiet season to convince you that your loudest days are behind you." Okay, because a lot of times our loudest days are ahead of us, not behind us. Assuming we're still putting in the work, assuming we're still showing up, assuming that we still are holding faith strong, right? So, and there's been many people I've spoken to over the years that are friends or former colleagues or people in my world and vice versa that have said, or they have made permanent decisions based off of temporary silence on the journey. Okay, so we can't do that. We just can't do that because sometimes we're not going to see what we want to see in the moment, right? Because there are going to be seasons where your phone isn't ringing, right? Am I the only one, or is there other people who would agree with that? There's going to be times when people are not congratulating,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
People aren't cheering you on. People aren't congratulating you. The opportunity you're looking for hasn't shown up. The revenue that you thought you were going to make isn't happening. Right, the vision that you hold like really high and far, and you can see it from miles and miles away, like this big Mount Everest, looking at your dreams and your vision. It feels like it's way too big for the resources that are available to you right now. So just be very careful in terms of the conclusions that you draw and the decisions you make when the season is quiet,
Mhm.
because silence doesn't necessarily mean things aren't happening. If you're doing the work and you're showing up, it is happening. And sometimes it's not very noisy in terms of what you're looking for in the process, but this too will come to fruition at the right time.
Yes.
When you have faith, and we're not talking religious faith, we're just talking religion in what you believe in, right? Because we will have different people with different religions who may be looking at us, and it's not that what we're talking about. We're talking about faith in yourself, basically, right? When you think about faith, yes, I believe in God. I know Jose does, and I know Lancelot does.
Absolutely.
But there's other people with different faiths, and that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about faith in you, in your process, in your patience. And I think patience is one of the biggest things. Before I did my first podcast, I planted seeds 8 months before with my first guest. I said, listen, I'm considering a podcast. Would you be on it? They said yes. And I kept going and I said to the next person, next person, next person. Once I had enough people, then I started the podcast. I've had thousands of people say yes to being on my show. Thousands, not five. But it was me planting the seeds, me making sure the structure was well put together, me making sure that I had all the emails put together, the structure of every aspect, how the show was going to go, how long it was going to be for, creating the commercials, creating the intros and the outros and every little aspect of it, and giving people the space to be brilliant and for them to say, oh my gosh, Sifu, I want to do whatever you're doing, I'm with you. Right. And it was because I planted those seeds early. And I didn't act right away. I didn't say, hey, will you be on my guest? Okay, we're doing a show next week. No, I didn't do that. I said, I'm going to reach out to all these people and then I'm going to schedule it, but it's not going to be sometime soon. Will you be patient with me? And they said yes. So I asked for their permission to be patient, to come on the show when the time was right. And they did.
Now, what's interesting is I completely went I would say the opposite of that when I started my show, but it still had to do with faith. I started my show based off of a need there was an itch, there was the inner voice. Again, I don't push religion off on people, but I do believe in God. I believe that inner voice is God speaking to you because God knows what He has instilled in you and imparted in you because He gave it to you. So He knows when you're not living in your best, living to up to the best of your ability. So I say all to say, when I first got into my podcast, and I have 100 episodes, and I had Jose Escobar on for my 100th episode, so that's a big deal for me. But when I first started, I got involved with it, which is faith. I had no guests. I had no idea what I was doing, but I knew if I got involved with it, that I had the faith that I would utilize the same formula that I do with football, that I do with writing a book, that I do with everything else. And I jumped into it full 100%, learned how to produce my show. And then somebody said that if you're going to do one show, you need to do at least 100. And that was my goal. And I had the faith that I was going to hit 100. Why? I didn't have any guests. I didn't know how I was going to get there. But you know what the faith was? I knew me. I know how I am. And hook or crook, I was going to figure out how to get the guests, and I was going to get to 100, and I was not going to miss an episode because I had faith that I understood what happens when you plant that seed and you water it each and every day. That's what faith is all about. And believing in yourself enough to know that you are going to get to the end because you are going to do whatever it takes and however long it takes to get and reach that goal. And that is faith in yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Y'all got me hyped, man.
That's what it's about. Let's take a look at one more thing coming across the screen. Right? Take a peek and grab it here.
We are here in Tampa, Florida for the NYC Mastermind Experience. It was an absolutely epic weekend.
This was our fifth one, the sixth one.
Coming up in Hot Atlanta, that's right, Atlanta, Georgia, and our host, the great T.O. Clay.
Hey, you don't want to miss it. Come September, the new Hollywood of the South, ATL, baby. Make sure from NY to Tampa to Atlanta, Georgia. Can't wait to see you there. Peace.
Light up the city, every rise tonight. Every speaker bring it down in that fire, that light. No funny, no fear, just truth on the mic. It's the NYC life, we unite, light up.
Oh, yeah, I get hyped up every time I see that.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I love it, man. I just love us, man. I don't know. The energy is just like, I love it.
I think all three of us could sit in a room and do our mastermind with just us three for a day and have a blast.
Yeah, I swear it's so much fun. I love the energy. I really do.
And the music for these events, I mean, are just epic. So, I mean, Sifu is quite the producer and DJ there, all the things that he's doing there. But continuing on the path of faith, which is so important. And I can't stress how important having faith is, because without it, it's hard to see anything through, right? So the process of that faith when things aren't happening, right? That process, if we really think about it and we pull back the curtain a little bit further to see more of what we can't see, that process is actually preparing your capacity, not necessarily the opportunity, right? Because, for example, if you cannot manage $10,000, why do you think the Lord would bless you with 100,000? Right? So if you cannot manage leading 10 people, why would the Lord put 100 people in your world? If you are severing relationships left and right at all times, how are you going to be in front of 10,000 people?
Mm.
So sometimes we're praying, working, and waiting for these bigger, bolder, grander opportunities when the process is actually trying to make us capable of carrying that opportunity. So ask yourself, am I actually ready for what I want? Am I actually prepared for this vision that I have for myself? The dreams
Yes.
that I'm desiring, am I that person right now?
Yet.
Or
Yet.
do I need to become that person in order to have the capacity to maintain it? Because again, sometimes we put the carriage before the horse.
Wow.
So ask yourself this question: am I showing up each and every day being the person I need to be to have what I'm looking to have? If the answer is no, then you have some work to do.
Yes. That's right. That's right. In other words, keep the faith and you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet, some of us, and to keep putting the work in and have the faith and get yourself prepared to be ready. That was beautiful. That's a mic drop right there. Nugget. Nugget.
But I also say, because we are talking about faith, and we're talking about planting and seeds and all these things, you still have to prune that tree, that plant. That you got to get rid of the weeds, because the weeds are going to want to pull and take over, and that's going to the bar. That's hanging out. That's not doing the right thing. And there's nothing wrong with going to the bar if the mission is to connect with somebody deeper. But if going to the bar just to get drunk is your mission, then you're not listening to the true calling. And we do, when we get together, when we do have an event, we do have a meeting after the meeting. Sometimes it's at a bar, sometimes it's at a restaurant, but it's always about the conversations. It's not how much I'm going to drink tonight. It's more about, who am I going to speak with? Who am I going to sit next to? So have the faith that it's not always about the location. It's about the people. And the people make the location worth its while. I don't care if we go to a shack, or if we go to a Waldorf Astoria or the Hyatt or wherever it is. It's not the location, it's the people. I have faith in people more than I have in a location. Location is great. The best locations are incredible. We somehow always figure out a great location. But once again, and Atlanta is, I got to tell you, we're going to be in a phenomenal, phenomenal location. But forget that for a second and think about the phenomenal people who you may be able to sit with, break bread with, have a conversation with, that maybe you impact their life. But most importantly, they will impact yours. And the most important thing you have to consider when you come to our events, never consider what someone else can do for you. Always be a giving human being and ask, how can I be of service? Because the more you can serve others, the more others will serve you. But it starts with you. It doesn't start with them. And when you think it's going to start with them, you will fall short.
Absolutely. And just to expound on this, just the connections and not where we go, but who we go with. You know, two girls in particular. First of all, Carly and I just connected, and I've known Carly, but we just had some incredible conversations, and looking forward to continuing with her. But the two sisters, to me, are Leon and Renee, and I consider them like family, and it just connected even stronger this last weekend. So much so that I was making sure I was okay, how y'all getting home? Okay, all right, no, y'all can't do that. No, all right, no, I'm not going nowhere till you get in the taxi cab, because that's how I would do my sister or family member. And because of the connection and just being around them again, that's how I felt. And that wasn't fake. And so I say that all to say that when you, for those that might not be used to connecting, it's different than networking. You have conversations that are so different than you would if you were trying to network with someone, if you were trying to get something from somebody. And those conversations are so unique and special. And when you, the other thing is when you watch the people who are on the outside, watching a group of 30 people connecting, it's very interesting because as an actor, I stand back and I look because I want to know what that looks like so I can utilize that later on. People are completely fascinated as they sit there and watch this table of 30 people who everybody is engulfed in these interesting connecting conversations. So when then you look around you, people like talking and like looking and they trying to drink and they looking and they barely listening to who they talking to because they're so interested in what's going on here with these 30 people in the middle of this restaurant. That's the kind of connections that you're having. And when you experience it for the first time, it's life changing. So get your butt to Atlantic. It's nobody's fault but your own if you don't get there. And if you're looking to, if you're looking to do something new and something different. So get to Atlanta.
Huge shout out to Anil. He's a newer member of CLA who joined us not too long ago. Anil, his business is Goya, right? And he has, like, if you look at his backdrop on his background, anytime he's doing anything on social media, it says Goya in big red letters, right? And I'm like, oh, Goya, that's pretty cool. So what's your connection to the Hispanic food market, right? And he's like, not that Goya, right? He's like, it's Goya. It's an acronym for get off your ass. Sorry for my tone, but or my choice of verbiage, but he's like, that's his brand, is get off your ass, right? So I'm off of mine, and a lot of times when we're not getting the opportunities, it's because the catch that what is the catch? What is the catch, Jose? The catch is you're sitting on it. It's you. It's, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to get uncomfortable? Are you willing to invest a little bit of time, energy, money, resources, and have some faith and courage to step into the new you, to step into the new opportunities, to position yourself to win? I'm always talking about positioning yourself to win, because how can you win if you're not in position to win? Right? How can you win a football game as a team member of the football team if you're not in uniform? You're not even on the field, right? And in most cases, you're not even showing up to the game itself. Are you really in it to win it? Are you really looking to grow and to build and to do all the things you're saying? There's too many of us, and I include myself, again, in all the things, because there's ebbs and lows, highs and flows, peaks and valleys. There's times where we might be saying one thing but showing up this way over here, right? And we want to be congruent. We want to make sure we're in alignment with what we say and what we do. Can we fall short? Of course we can fall short, but whose job is it to fix that? You. It's an inside job, right? It's not Sifu's job to fix me. It's not Lancelot's job to fix me. It's my job to fix me. It's my job all they can do is present opportunities to me and say, Jose, this is happening, or Jose, you should consider this. And it's my job to do the work, right? So, and I want to end with this, and then I'll turn it over to you guys. I know Lancelot said something that stood out to me. He said that he looks out for his sisters, right? Leon and Renee, right? And sisters to me, sisters to Sifu. I mean, they're our sisters. They're amazing, as is Angeline and Nikki Quest and others that are here. But these two, when you said that, Lance, it reminded me of an incident that happened there. There was we were at a restaurant, and a meeting after the meeting, and this is, I think, day 3. I think it was the last day. No, it was the second day, day 2. And we went out, and Patrick Rude shows up with his family. And before Patrick even showed up, he dropped off, I guess, his family and his wife.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Yeah, his wife Julie was there, and they had the 5 kids there, and 5 younger kids, mind you. So they gotta make sure they're they're not easy to hold it together, right? Because they're young kids. They're all young. They're all under 13, I think, and all the way down to 2 or 1. So they were there, And I show up to the restaurant and I see a big crowd of people like gathered around. I'm like, what's going on here? Why is everybody outside? Why aren't they? So, well, first of all, because we're on the waiting list, number one. But the other reason is because the reason why there was a big circle is because I showed up and Patrick's son is on the ground with an ice bag with his head kind of like this and with his eyes closed and hurt on the ground. And there's another young man that was hurt there as well. And it's because they were kind of goofing around or whatever. And Patrick's son hit his head on the concrete. Right. So then, and Patrick was already kind of going through some other stuff. So he shows up and he's like, oh my gosh, well now I was just looking to enjoy a drink and do some networking. And now I'm here and I got to take my son to the urgent care, and it became a thing. Right. So now Julie is left by herself watching the 5 kids by herself at the restaurant. So all of the people there could have easily just said, okay, Julie, do your thing. We'll let you figure it out, whatever. But you know what people did? They rallied around her. They hung out at her table. They were checking on her, hey, and try to help entertain the kids. And that's what family does for each other. That's what relationships do for you. At the end, I walked her to her car, to her Uber, because she had 5 little kids. I was like, I got to make sure she had 4 at that time now because the other ones left. So I walked her to her Uber and made sure, helped her get the kids in there and round them up there, that whole thing. And checked in on Patrick, but that's what everybody was doing, was looking out for that situation. So that's the power of community. That's the power of solid relationships, because people actually genuinely do care. So when you said that, it hit a chord with me, because that's a real thing.
And being around that is just it's powerful. It truly is, and unforgettable. That and it's moments like that that make you realize how blessed you are to be in communities like this.
Yep.
And it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. It was everybody. They're like, I can't do this, I can't do that, without making sure she's safe. And when I went and spoke to her, I said, don't you worry, nobody's leaving you here by yourself.
Yep.
We're all here with you, right? And thinking about what we're doing, because we've all grown relationships because we see each other consistently, and the growth is important, right? Keeping the communication between people is important. It's easy to let that go. It's easy to let that go. Let me share another video with you guys.
The New York City Mastermind Experience here in Tampa is like no other. The room is electric. The people are having a great time, and I'm so proud to be one of the speakers. I can promise you, if you're not at any of these events, you're missing out, because today was an incredible day, a life-changing day for everybody who was here. All of the New York City Mastermind experiences are a must-to go. If you're looking to impact your life and take it to the next level, if you're looking to improve your business, your relationship, your finances, any of those things and more, you have to be in the room to meet the right people. There's somebody in every one of these rooms that are going to impact you and change your life for the rest of your life. Why wait at home on the couch when you could be here doing something incredible?
Yeah, couch potatoes don't grow, by the way. Just, it's a fact. Right? And I know that after we do a video, it takes a minute for Jose his audio to come back. I don't know, he's got a weird relationship with StreamYard.
I was laughing
Yeah.
in mute mode.
Yeah. We saw you laugh, right? But yeah, if you, and this is the last event we're doing this year for New York City Mastermind Experience. So until we come back again in January or February, and we come back and do our other one. And it's probably going to be back in New York. We're going to bring it back to New York because it is New York City Mastermind Experience. But the fact that we take it outside of New York is because we're bringing the vibe, the energy of the New York experience. So consider that, right? Can you pack up your bags and bring energy with you where you're going? I know we do. I know Jose does. I know Lancelot does. I know I do. Pardon you? I know we do, right? We bring the energy. And so we're asking you, if you come to Atlanta, don't come without the energy that we know you have. Because the more energy we bring into the room, the more explosive it is. Because the theme is called ascend. And you can only ascend if we have enough energy. You can only rise higher with the right people. It's hard for me to rise up by myself. Don't get me wrong, I can do it. It's just going to take me a heck of a lot longer by myself. I rather have the right team, the right people, the right connections that will help me elevate, help me ascend.
I love that. In the process of us ascending, Sifu, we have to truly understand that ascension requires process, requires transformation of us as individuals, right? Our business won't transform until what transforms? Me.
We do.
I have to transform. So think about this. A lot of people think they're building a business, but sometimes the business is building you. Think about that one for a second. Sometimes the business is building you. Like what? It's building your patience. Lord knows when you're in the people business, you need to have patience, right? It's building your judgment. Oh man, I overextended myself. Lesson learned. Oh, I committed to too many things. Oh, I thought I could, but I can't. It's building your discipline, right? It builds your resilience, your communication skills, your humility, your resourcefulness. A lot of us want the $1 million business or the multi-million-dollar business or the billion-dollar corporation, right? We want these things, but there's a process that needs to happen of transformation in order for us to get there. So let me tell you something. Do not skip the struggle, okay? Do not skip the struggle. The struggle is actually a part of the blessing.
Love that.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Sometimes you don't know where the blessing is coming from. It could be on your left or your right. It could be the person in front of you. But when I talk about uh, opportunities, I'm talking about another person sharing an opportunity with you. Coach Theo Clay can tell you that he he has had so many great opportunities because he came to New York City Mastermind Experience. He can tell you if he was here how he was able to speak across the street from Madison Square Garden because we gave him the mic. He can tell you that he was able to go to the Bronx and get paid as a speaker because he was at our event and someone else said, "We need you in this community. We need you to go to this school in the Bronx and inspire some young children." And he was only able to get that opportunity because he was with us, because he came to the New York City Mastermind Experience. And now the opportunity has even presented itself even further for Coach Theo Clay because he is now hosting the New York City Mastermind Experience in Atlanta, in his hometown. So that opportunity would never have shaped itself if he didn't come and join us initially. And he has been at every one of our events. And when we knew we wanted to take it out of New York, it was just an easy sell for us to say, let's go to Atlanta. Let's go and have Theo Clay be the boots on the ground. And he took it right in, he took the reins and he secured an incredible spot for us.
Spots. We'll say
Many,
spots because
many.
we're doing as a homage to Jose and Mike. We're doing a cigar bar. We're also doing a Mexican restaurant. There's a winery. So there's and they're all in the same area. So he's done an incredible job of setting up a wonderful weekend, all within walking distance of each other in Atlanta. So a big shout out to T.O. Clay.
All right, you guys, final words for today, and I'll start if you don't mind. Have faith in yourself, have faith in the process. But if you don't take action on your faith, all you're going to do is be a couch potato. Don't do that. have faith, but take the action. Join us in Atlanta, September 25th through the 27th. It's going across the screen. You can get your ticket today, and they're really super dirt cheap. Why? Because we planted the seeds.
Love it. I'm going to have to go next because the final word is too much pressure. So I'm going to give the final word to Lancelot. That's okay. But final word is people are like on their edge like this. So I'll give that edge to you, Lancelot. But in terms of my final thought, a very simple thought, and that is in the process of keeping the faith and doing the things, don't judge the process from the middle, right? Where you are now. Because there's where you were, there's where you want to be. This is considered the middle of where we are now, right? So, for example, if this isn't working right now, my business isn't growing, I'm not moving fast enough, I'm behind, I should be further along. You know, according to the timeline of what my coach said or what I'm guesstimating, it's just out of line, whatever, right? So remember, there's always a next chapter. There's always a next chapter. Never give a final verdict from a story that God isn't finished writing. Okay, God is not done with your story. He's not done with my story. He's not done with Sifu, Lancelot's story. We have more work to do, right? And we, as entrepreneurs, have a tendency to judge the process from the middle. But just know there's more to the story, and it's unfolding as we go, but we have to do the work. So position yourself to win. Have faith in the process. And the next step in that process, I can tell you, a valuable place to be is going to be Atlanta, Georgia, September 25th to the 27th. See you there.
Ooh, I got the pressure now. All right. I would say, you listeners out there, faith. Have faith in the seeds that you plant. That underneath that soil, there's growth and roots being planted every single day. And sometimes you have to take the time to look back at where you were and see where you're going and understand and see and notice all the little things that have happened and the growth that you've had, those roots that have been planted in the soil underneath. Look back and see the progress. Sometimes we need to celebrate the small things. We need to celebrate the fact that we're consistent. For myself, getting up at 3:30, 4 o'clock every morning and doing that consistently. That was difficult at one time. Now it is a part of my life. I don't even need an alarm clock. That's growth. The fact that I read 15 minutes a day, it's only 15 minutes, but it was more than I was reading before. That's growth. The fact that I'm still in the gym 4 days a week after 30 years, that's continued growth. It's little things like that that sometimes we ignore that makes us the person that we are today. Don't ignore it. Take inventory of the greatness that is you. And sometimes that's all we need in order to continue to have faith and patience and know that as you grow every single day, you're getting closer and closer to whatever you want. And it might not happen when you want it, but it's going to happen because universal energy and God is real. All right, guys. Love you. Have a great week. Everybody listening. Peace.
Everyone who's in the room is all about giving. Everyone who show up here and who are in the room are just givers, and they just want everyone to become better and better entrepreneurs, better founders, better coaches, better givers. You are going to meet the best of the best in this room, and it's an intimate experience, right? Sometimes you go to events where there are hundreds or thousands of people, and here in the New York City Mastermind, it's an intimate experience, so you really get to know them. You get to know them as people and not as just a number that's out there. So I highly recommend New York City Mastermind to anyone.